I'm gonna be honest, I have tried to make this video so many times and made so many scripts of it for almost a year probably now, but with the Grandfest happening in Splatoon 3 soon, I feel like now's a better time than ever to finally do it. And I'm just going to talk about all the games and my memories and experiences with them. I was first inspired to make this video back when I saw a video by Ted on how they got into the series, so I'll make sure to link that video if you are interested in watching that as well. My first experience with Splatoon happened pretty shortly after the first game released. I was about 10 years old at the time, and my friend brought it over to my house to show me. I remember that we played the Battle Dojo, which was Splatoon 1's weird local multiplayer. It's kind of like a balloon battle from Mario Kart, which is kind of funny because now you can play balloon battle on a Splatoon stage in Mario Kart. There's like different presets that give you different weapons or gear, and there's only like 5 stages from the selection. One person would play on the TV and the other on the Wii U gamepad. After we played it for a while, he asked me what I thought about it, and you wanna know, the little 10-year-old me said, I said that I didn't like it. You wanna know why I didn't like it? Because it wasn't Mario. At that point in my life, the only games I played, pretty much exclusively Mario and Pokemon, and apparently 10-year-old me just refused to have an open mind towards any other games, which was my greatest mistake. I know that when first making Splatoon, the developers considered just making it like a Mario spin-off with Mario characters, and I'm sure little 10-year-old me would have loved that, would have had a blast with that game, but I'm so glad that they did not go that route and made an original world and story. Other than that, I didn't really interact with Splatoon 1 for a while. I saw some like Splatfest discourse on Miiverse every once in a while, but that was kinda it. Couple years later, in January of 2017, I was now 12 years old, in middle school I think, and had ever so slightly broadened my taste in games. I saw the announcement trailer for Splatoon 2, and my feelings on it were like a complete 180 from what I thought about Splatoon 1. I was like instantly obsessed with it. Everything about the world and the characters and the vibes was all super fresh, and I wanted it. Skipping forward to July of that year, my cousin was visiting me, and I had managed to get him hooked on the game as well, and we were eagerly waiting for the Cake vs. Ice Cream World Premiere Splatfest. We both had our Switches set up in my living room. I had like a ton of pillows and blankets and lights, and basically had a whole little party zone for the Splatfest party. Of course, we were on Team Ice Cream. Love ice cream. Om nom nom. And at this point, I had been making YouTube videos for a while, but they were not very high quality.
Pop.
I decided to record some of the Splatfest by just putting my phone on a little Minecraft stop-motion phone stand and putting my Switch in front of it against a box. Clearly, not a good setup at all. But I had a lot of fun during the Splatfest, and I was super excited for the game to release. As soon as Splatoon 2 came out, I was just so obsessed with it, playing it non-stop, and very quickly settled into maining the Splat Dualies, and pretty much played like 90% just Splat Dualies for like the first like 2 years. I'm not proud to admit it, but I was that person just spamming ton of missiles with them. What I liked to do was I would charge up my special, then I would super jump back to the spawn so I had like a wider view of the whole map, and then when I was locked on all 4 opponents, I would shoot all the 10 missiles, and then super jump back into the battle as my missiles were falling, and then I'd go and attack them, and they'd die. Very annoying, but a very good strategy. At some point, I started trying some other weapons. I remember towards the end of Splatoon 2's updates, I liked the Kansas Sloshing Machine and Splat Roller. And I know that before that, I started using some of the other dualies like the Tetras and the Clear Dabble ones. I loved the dualies, not the Glugas though. They're too slow for me. As I was kind of talking about when I first discovered the game, I just loved the atmosphere of Ingopolis and the world of Splatoon. I would create a brand new account on my Switch just so I could open Splatoon on that account and replay through the tutorial. And I would just like walk around looking at everything, because that's like a part of the game you like only get to see once. And I know you can like technically go through it in Octo Expansion, but it's a lot nicer when it's daytime and you're not being hunted to your death by Octarians. My favorite stages in the game were the Reef, that probably has to be my number one. Starfish Main Stage, Arowana Mall, and Snap Canal are also very good ones in my opinion. Of course, I had a blast with Splatfest. I played almost every one. I think there was only a few I missed, like the Squid vs. Octo one and the Smash Bros one. And I love that we got a new Shifty Station like every Splatfest. There's like so many unique stage ideas in there that I feel like would be really cool to have in like an actual stage in the current game. I really didn't play that much Salmon Run compared to the normal online, but I did like it. I liked Arc Polaris the best. I know I got all of the Grizzco gear, but honestly, not much to say about it. I was also really into the music and learning the lore of all of the in-game bands, and I played a lot of Squid Beats. I'm pretty sure I have at least silver, but gold on most of all the songs in normal mode. But some of them, looking at you, Seafoam Shanty, are a little too difficult for me on hard. At the time when I was like super into the game, I wanted to get into playing it competitively, but after like 20 minutes of just struggling to substrafe, I was like, damn, this is not fun, I suck at this. But honestly, I enjoy playing casual much more. Outside of the game, I tried to get as much Splatoon merchandise as I could, collecting as many amiibos and getting the manga, the Splatoon 2 art book, and the pink and green Joy-Cons. I never was able to get the Splatoon 2 Pro Controller, but I did make my own little stickers that I put on my normal Pro Controller that eventually fell off, but still cool. At some point, I also got the Splatoon 1, 2, and Octo Expansion CDs, which I vibed to in my car. I'm pretty sure I made a Let's Play on the Hero mode with my very bad recording setup. I feel like most people who played Splatoon 1 thought the Hero mode was like really boring because it's pretty similar to the first game. But as like a little kid, I had a lot of fun with it and ended up 1000%ing it. Eventually, the Octo Expansion DLC came out, and that was such a huge step up compared to the Hero mode. All the stages were like super unique and cool, and most of them were challenging but weren't like rage quitting hard, except for Girl Power Station. The final boss versus Commander Tartar, I'm gonna be honest, it was a pretty easy fight, but it was super fun just like riding around on the rails and blowing up all the bombs. And if I hear Fly Octofly or Into the Light, I will immediately burst into tears. At some point, I also fought Inner Agent 3. Don't really remember much of that, but it definitely took me a while to beat. All for a toothpick that I'm never gonna wear, but it's the bragging rights that counts. Over the next year or so, I continued playing the game, and before I knew it, the final Splatfest was happening. Chaos versus Order. I'm not really sure why I did, but I chose Team Chaos. I played as much as the final Splatfest as I could. MC Princess Diaries is probably my favorite Shifty Station. Got Marina's Hyper Bombs that you can explode, and bringing back Killer Whale from the first game. That was super cool, and it was super chaotic, just everyone fighting for it in the center. I'm pretty sure I stayed up till like 2 a.m. on the final day because I didn't want to end on a loss, but I just kept losing like over and over. It was super bad. So eventually I had to go to sleep, but despite all my terrible losses, Team Chaos did end up winning. After the final fest, there wasn't a lot really. I know Sheldon's picks happened. I made some more videos on the game every once in a while. They definitely weren't the best quality videos, but there were definitely some ideas in there that I was really proud of and had a lot of fun making. And there's some others that weren't as good. Eventually, after playing the game for like over 2 years, I kind of started to get bored of it and started playing it less and less. I would come back for the Splatfest rematches that happened like 1 or 2 years after the final fest, but that was kind of it. Sometime in late 2019, I decided to finally pick up a copy of Splatoon 1 since I had never really played it besides the Battle Dojo. And starting with Splatoon 2 and going back to Splatoon 1 is quite a shift. I wouldn't say that the graphics in Splatoon 1 are bad, but they're just a lot more scrunky than Splatoon 2. It's a lot more modern and polished. Also, my beloved dualies aren't in the first game, so what was I supposed to do? I had a lot of fun on the maps that I'd never played before, like Mahi Mahi and Urchin Underpass. I was hoping and praying that Nintendo would bring Urchin Underpass back for Splatoon 3, but it does not look like it's happening. Mario Kart does not count as having it on the Switch, guys. Bring it back, I need it. Eventually, like Splatoon 2, I just wasn't that invested in it, especially because it usually took forever to find a lobby. So at some point, I dropped it and didn't really touch the series for a while. And then, February 17th of 2021, I was in high school at this point, either a sophomore or junior, one of those. I was watching the new Nintendo Direct in class instead of doing my work. And at the very end of the Direct, Nintendo showed us one last announcement. Upon seeing the Splatoon 3 trailer, my obsession came back full force. I was so hyped. I tried to consume every little piece of media and detail I could find about it on like YouTube and Twitter. And in my excitement, I started playing Splatoon 2 again. My partner also got the game so we could play together. It was a lot more fun to play the game together than just playing by myself. I know we played a lot of Salmon Run. And one of those days while we were playing Salmon Run, I got the Hydra Splatling, and before that, I never liked playing with the slow, heavy weapons like Splatlings and Chargers, but for some reason, I was just having a blast with the Hydra in this random Salmon Run shift. I decided to try it out a bit in Turf War and ranked modes, and it was super refreshing to play something that wasn't just dualies spamming tandem missiles after like 4 years. Around that time, I made a few videos talking about Splatoon 3 and like predictions and what I wanted to see for it, but shortly after that, I took a break from uploading, which eventually decided to come back, and I made a I'm Not Dead video, and then I proceeded to not upload anything after that for like 2 or 3 years. Even though I wasn't making videos at this time, I was still super excited for the game, and my love for the series was just completely revived. Over a year later, I think, Splatoon 3 was almost out, and I managed to get the Splatoon 3 OLED Switch, which looks super nice, I love it, and it was a very nice upgrade from my very first original Switch, which was quite broken at that point. The Rock, Paper, Scissors Splatfest premiere was shortly before the game fully released, and me and my partner ended up choosing Team Rock because, shiver pretty. My once old reliable dualies, now in this new game, had Crab Tank on them, which I just could not get the hang of for the life of me. It was too slow, I did not like it, so I ended up trying the Splatana Wiper, which I really enjoyed, and that ended up becoming my main weapon for a very long time. And finally, on September 9th, 2022, Splatoon 3 came out. At this point, I was 18 years old and in my last year of high school, and the very same day that the game came out was also me and my partner's anniversary, which I may or may not have forgotten about in my excitement for the game. Teehee. But just like Splatoon 2, I became obsessed, played pretty much just Splatoon 3, no other games. Unfortunately, that means I dropped Fortnite for a bit, and I missed the season that Spider-Gwen was in the Battle Pass. That's my one minor regret. I know that Splatoon 3's stages were pretty controversial upon release, and they still are mostly, but as a casual player, I wasn't that bothered by them, except for Mincemeat. I don't like Mincemeat, not because it's a bad stage, I know it's a bad stage, but I don't like it just because it looks gross. Like, why are we in this gross, rusty junkyard? During Splatoon 2, I kind of joined the Wahoo World hate train, but in Splatoon 3, I was like, hey, this stage is actually fun. And now I love Wahoo World, and I will defend it with my life. I wanted to take my time with the game, but I ended up beating the story mode in like 3 or 4 days. Loved learning more lore, loved seeing big old Mr. Grizz. I don't want to brag, but I did beat After Alterna pretty easily. It wasn't that hard, I feel like. The parkour bit, I was pretty fine with. It was just fighting the Octolings at the end that would die on like the last couple every time, and that part was super frustrating. Every once in a while, I also play Table Turf, Usually I forget about it, but it is a fun game, and I like making different decks for different stages and collecting all the cards. I love to constantly redecorate my locker and like make different designs based off like different weapons or like what the like latest Splatfest and like what my team is. Just like what I did in Splatoon 2 when I would like go through the tutorial over and over again. Sometimes I'll just walk around Splatsville and take everything in. I love how it's like a huge lobby and isn't just like super small to Inkopolis Square and the plaza. It feels just so much more lived in, especially during Splatfest when it's at night and that back alleyway has like all the vendors with stuff. I love that area, and I love like taking photos of like every Splatfest of like all the people dancing and having fun. About a year after the game came out, I had this time graduated high school and I was in college now, and there was a couple people who started a Splatoon club, so of course I was gonna join, and we get together during Splatfest and big runs and all play together. Super fun, made some new friends in there that I still talk to. Hopefully we'll keep the club going after the Splatfest ends. Then February of this year, I think? Side Order came out. I don't really have a lot to say about it. I do like it. I like the roguelite structure. I think it's fun and will be really easy just to like hop on and play a little bit whenever I'm bored of like the base game for a while. I feel like the story wasn't as good as Octo Expansion, but I love Pearl Marina, we love the lesbians. Just before April, before the Wii U servers shut down, I started playing Splatoon 1 again, just say a little last goodbye, and I still did not really have a main weapon for Splatoon 1. I would just try different things out. Nothing really stuck as well as the dualies or the Splatana. Since the servers shut down, I did get Pretendo on my Wii U, so I could keep playing it on those servers, but it just takes forever to find a lobby, and you basically cannot get a ranked match ever. Now we're catching up with the current day. This most recent season though, when the Well Strength 5 came out, I fell in love with that even more than I did with the Splatana Wiper. The original kit is my new main now. I love that one. Super fun. A month ago, maybe even less, the Final Fest or Grandfest was announced. Gonna be honest, choosing team here was pretty hard. I love Deep Cut, but Future was not speaking to me. I was very torn between past and present. I feel like personality-wise, I probably align more with Team Past, but I really like Pearl and Marina's like message throughout Side Order and a little bit of Octo Expansion about like living in the moment, like not taking things for granted and stuff like that. That's kind of their whole little theme, and I feel like I resonate with that a lot more than like focusing on the path and like what brought you here and blah blah blah. And also, I love Off the Hook as a group more than I like the Squid Sisters. Callie's my favorite. Callie's best girl individually, but best idol group, Off the Hook. As soon as the amiibo were announced, I pre-ordered those. As soon as the t-shirts were for sale, I pre-ordered the Team Present one. I kind of wanted to get all of them, but I'm just too poor. And just today, the day I'm recording this, my little Grand Festival wristband got here, which I'm wearing right now. And I'm super excited for the big run, and then the Grandfest like the week after that. I really hope I don't just drop the game as soon as the Grandfest is over. What I've been doing kind of recently is I'll like play through one weapon and get it to 4 stars, then I just like switch to a new weapon and do that again. So I'm keeping my variety. I'm also playing a lot more Salmon Run than I did in Splatoon 2. I enjoy it a lot more this time. I am on the grind for bronze scales so I can get all the Octoling armor. I don't know how people do it, dude. It takes forever to get scales, and I can hardly ever kill a King Salmonid either. But that's pretty much all caught up. That's my little story on how I got into Splatoon. It's been a very big and influential part of my life, and I've made a lot of connections through the game and have just changed a lot as a person since playing it. I started as like a 12-year-old boy, and now I'm not 12 and not a boy. Earlier today, the new song with all of the idol groups singing was released, and I just started tearing up. I love this game and this series so much. If you have any fun little stories or just want to talk about your feelings about the series, please leave them in the comments. I would love to read all of them. But with all that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!